Hello, CBM Junkies. Chad Miller here with Comic Book Movie Reports. Now, if you haven't seen it already, we posted our live reaction to the trailer for the Dark Phoenix movie last night as it premiered on The Late Late Show with James Corden. And it was a pretty decent reaction, but I want to go ahead and break down what I really think about this trailer and what I hope will come from it and what I hope it steers away from. Now, this could dive into some spoiler territory based on certain things that I've heard about the film that haven't really been publicly released. So I want any of you going into this to know that there could be some possible spoilers. So if you want to stop watching right now. So let's take a look at this. So we get the initial basic origin story of Jean Grey in this. When we last saw her, she was already a student at Xavier's in the X-Men Apocalypse movie, and so we could see what brought her there, or how Charles sought her out. If you happen to recall from X-Men Days of Future Past, Wolverine told the young Charles to search out Storm, Jean, and Cyclops. Cyclops was obviously brought to the school in X-Men Apocalypse. And then obviously Storm gets recruited later on, so we didn't really search them out per se. So it's going to be a mystery as to whether Charles actually searches for her, or if it's the moment when Jean's powers manifest and it apparently kills her parents that brings her to Charles's attention. Now this is where things are also going to be up for debate. So in X-Men Days of Future Past, young Charles reads Wolverine's mind, Wolverine from the future. So he sees Wolverine's future, he sees Jean's future, and we all know what happened there. Shit got ugly. So I would think, and I kind of talked about this a little bit in the video I made for what I was hoping to be a Dark Phoenix trilogy. This is well before the whole Fox Disney merger and all that came along, so well into the beginning stages of what this film was talking about. But I talked about this a little bit there, and it's that Charles knows what happens to Jean by him manipulating her and her power set when she was younger, and which eventually led up to her becoming Dark Phoenix before the future got reset. So it's going to be up for debate as to whether he actually knew that it was his manipulation that caused that to happen. I would kind of like to think that maybe he did figure that out. I don't know. Apparently he didn't, because some of those underlying elements are going to be sitting right here. Now this is also another area of debate that people have because of the space mission. In the comics, in the cartoon, Jean goes with the X-Men on a space adventure, somehow merges with the Phoenix, and that's the whole start of the saga. However, in this movie universe, she already displayed the powers of the Phoenix well before this space adventure at the end of X-Men Apocalypse. So, if they're keeping with the fact that her Phoenix powers are a natural state of evolution of her powers, that's good. That's one thing I really liked about the X-Men The Last Stand movie, was that it was a further expansion of her power set that she just wasn't able to handle, and created a alternate identity within her. That, like I said, that was like one of the things that I really enjoyed about X-Men The Last Stand. It was a good way to bring about the whole Phoenix powers without having to make it cosmic. In this movie, in Dark Phoenix, I'm assuming that Jean's, still got her powers. Her powers a little bit wonky, we're gonna say, and they do actually have a space mission, and they fly out into space. They hit a solar flare, and what I'm hoping is gonna happen is that the solar flare just like impacts her powers and just causes them just to go like full throttle. I don't think this should be a point of entry for the Phoenix to enter her or anything like that, because that would just totally retcon things, and yeah, that would totally just ruin shit. But in the midst of all that, she causes apparently another spacecraft or another plane or something to get projected through space, and it ends up hitting a planet, and the aliens from that planet want answers. So they obviously come to Earth and are seeking out Jean Grey to pay for her crimes, apparently. So we know that Charles has manipulated Jean at some point, whether it is to hide the fact that she accidentally killed her parents with her powers, or if it's just him just manipulating her so her powers don't go completely wonky. I don't know. But there's some sort of manipulation that happens. And at some point, Jean does lose control of her powers, and spoiler territory, there's something that happens and one of the X-Men gets killed because of it, and that character is Mystique. Darn. I'm not butthurt about that. I hate Jennifer Lawrence in the role. I liked it at first in the first class, but then it all just went downhill. Jean learns that Xavier has toyed with her mind, whether it was trying to mute her powers or hide the fact that she killed her parents. Anyway, she gets pissed off at him. And she goes searching out for answers, and one of those people that she goes to search for is obviously Magneto, who is building a mutant empire on the island of Genosha. And at this point, mutants are actually being celebrated, so he's like creating this commune of peace and harmony for mutants. And so she searches him out and whatnot. So also in the meantime, this alien race is coming to look for her and probably to try to kill her for her crimes, whatever. Not a whole lot explored there. But this trailer relies heavily on what Charles has done to Jean and how Jean's powers have just gone completely bonkers. And obviously Mystique was killed in the process, so that's why Beast is butthurt and pissed off at Charles, because it essentially is Charles's fault. Yeah. So, so we see, like, this dynamic of, like, Jean just knowing that, you know, things aren't right with her. The team is trying to rally around her. Beast defects over to Magneto's side for whatever reason, because he's just butthurt about Mystique. And we realize that Magneto sees the true nature of Jean. And that's pretty much most of the trailer. Now, some of you have said it's a little bit too similar to X-Men The Last Stand, and I can kind of see the vibes on that. I mean, I would hate to see the fact of, like, Simon Kinberg sitting in the pitch room going, okay, these are the things that really worked in X-Men The Last Stand, let's keep that. That to everything is a big no, except for the explanation of Jean's Phoenix powers. That's the only thing that should be kept, in my opinion. But there are definitely some similarities, and I hope that as further trailers come out that it veers away from that. And I hope we get to see a little bit more as far as what's at stake, a little bit more into the plot as far as Jessica Chastain's involvement as the alien race, and then get it fleshed out and see what happens. So this is actually set to be the last X-Men film for the Fox brand for X-Men, and so a lot of people are sitting there saying, why does this even matter? It's all going to get taken over by Disney anyways and redone, and I'm finding myself asking that too. I mean, I would really love to see a good Dark Phoenix movie, and I'm not quite sure this is going to be it. And frankly, I don't even know why Disney would even try to tackle it after 2 botched attempts. Who's going to want to try to see it a third time, you know? Which sucks, because I would really love to see this story done extremely well, as I know that the MCU could do it. Who knows? It could happen. People tend to think that the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix saga is the only good Jean Grey story, and that it isn't. I'm one of Jean's biggest fans, and she has more stories than just the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix stories. So, I mean, they're great stories, don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously it's very pivotal to her character, but there are so many other stories that that can be told with Jean. So I hope they just don't, like, please, Disney, don't just get rid of Jean. Please, please, just get her in there. So anyways, thank you for watching this. If you have any thoughts about what I've presented to you or put on the table, feel free to leave those comments down below. Also, speaking of the MCU version of the X-Men, we did a casting video of what we would like to see the X-Men cast as, and a little bit of a plot story and how to introduce them into the MCU. You can find that right on our page as well, so be sure to subscribe and like and all that fun stuff. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. We're around. So, thank you so much for watching. Love and lights to you all.